Okay, let's talk about something that you can do with a blues kind of chord progression that adds a lot more of a jazzy feel. I think it's safe to say that a lot of people play blues and they play it and they play it and they play it and it gets really old, and they don't know, a lot of people don't know how to go any further with the chords, because I would say any beginner, high school guitarist probably knows how to go. Everybody seems to know a typical 1-4-5 chord progression for blues and all the different varieties. I mean, you can slow down the tempo, you can shuffle the beat a little bit, you can do the progression in a little bit different order, but there's other things that are a little bit more advanced. They're not really that difficult, but a lot of people don't know how to use. For example, if you're familiar with the turnaround, that's the moment where let me speed up the film a little bit, and let's say we're on the 5 chord, and the 4 chord, and the 1 chord. Just that moment's called the turnaround, just before we go back to the 1 and start the whole cycle again. That turnaround moment is actually an opportunity for a lot of different, I guess you'd call them substitutions. Like instead of doing this chord, you could do, or you could do, most people don't know that one. I think it's probably safe to say that more people know this one, or some variation. There's probably, tons of them we could cycle through, but the one I'm really interested in looks a lot like that one. I think a lot of people call that the Jimi Hendrix chord. If you take the root and do what is called a tritone substitution, and I'm going to go ahead and lay this pinky across the bottom 2 strings, you get that chord. So let's see. I don't want to play the whole cycle, but when you get down to the turnaround, and it of course sounds richer, a little bit more different, which should be a good thing to you if you're actually coming to a place like this video for advice on how to liven up or alter your blues. Don't fall for the mistake that a lot of people, well, that's different. Well, isn't that what you're here for? If you're here for a lesson, it's to learn something different. So, and I think it sounds great, and you won't fully appreciate it until you try to solo over it. So it's probably worth it for me to play the cycle one time or something. Really, I don't have to play the whole cycle, because that would take a long time to go 1-4-1 and then 5-4-1 and then hit the turnaround. You could actually simplify the whole process by doing just if you played over that, if you rewind the video and play over that, it sounds really nice. It sounds different. It has a different kind of tension. It'll make your same old blues phrases sound fresh and new. A little bit different, but it still works. Doing something different is one thing. You don't want to do something that's so different that it sounds like crap. This is different, but it actually works with your bluesy phrases, which means you can pull this move. You could actually get away with pulling this move even if the rest of your bandmates don't know what you're doing. Your bass player is probably going to be hitting this bass note, but you'll be hitting this, and it'll still sound pretty darn good. and if he catches his ear, he might, get some advice from you. Hey, what are you doing? And then you'll find out that you're actually moving up a half step from where the home chord is. And just so you know, the terminology for this is actually converting this 5 chord as the turnaround to this chord is called a tritone substitution, and that's I think that's probably a term that comes up in a lot of readings about bebop. Thelonious Monk, Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie. I'm pretty sure those guys had a lot to do with developing, like realizing. What they realized is that if the root ends up here, what's odd about it is, of course, this is considered a bad note as far as the scale that we'd be in, but this is a tritone interval. So to take the root, a tritone, either whether you look at it up or down, it's the same interval. But the interesting thing is that when we're looking at this chord, where this is the root, this is the 3rd, and this is the 7th. But if we switch it, then where this is the root, then this actually becomes the 7th, and this is the 3rd. So the 3rd and 7th switch roles. But okay, so that let's put that to rest, so that this video doesn't end up being too long, because I really want to get to the next step. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video now and break it up so that there's a part 2. So if you are enjoying this discussion and want to know where it's headed, join me in the next video, part 2.